And we are back with part 2. Take us away.
You. Flash forward to 12th century England, where King Henry II wrote similar instructions for the way the court should deal with the sexual assault of virgin women. According to King Henry, a rape survivor was to go at once, while the deed is newly done, to the neighboring townships, and there show the injury done to her, to men of good repute, the blood and her clothing stained with blood, and her torn garments. While the idea of a rape survivor being forced to run yelling through the streets immediately after such a traumatic experience, and then go show a group of men her bloodied clothing sounds awful, this is essentially what rape survivors are expected to do today.
You mean collect evidence, Marina? You mean collect proof of the crime that has transpired? How could you possibly have any problem with that?
Rape survivors are supposed to immediately collect evidence of their attack if they ever plan on testifying against their perpetrator.
Yes, and the reasoning for that is very, very simple. It's because rape is a very difficult crime to prosecute. So if you can collect as much evidence the moment it happened and gather enough witnesses as soon as the crime occurred, then you have a higher chance of getting that person in jail. Rape is a crime that happens behind closed doors with very few witnesses. If you can immediately collect all of the evidence you can right after it happens, you have a much better shot at convincing the jury of what happened. I don't see how you could possibly be upset with that. How could you possibly be upset that someone tells you to collect evidence after a crime happens?
And if they wait too long to testify, then it evokes suspicion about their motives.
No, you doofus. It causes the evidence to erode over time.
And the reasoning that a rape survivor could have prevented their attack by screaming for help only mirrors modern-day victim blaming with statements like, "Why didn't you call for help?" or "fight back." It places the blame on the survivor for their own violation rather than on the perpetrator who violated them. The last example I want to talk about is the infamous story of Potiphar's wife in the Bible. I might be saying Potiphar wrong. Potiphar's wife is basically depicted as being very sexual and lusting over one of her slaves. When the slave rejects her, Potiphar's wife, who of course is unnamed, accuses him of sexually assaulting her. The story of a woman crying rape is popular in a lot of other folklore, including the Quran, Celtic myths, and Egyptian folklore.
You want to know why that is, Marina? Well, the answer is quite simple. You see, women lying about rape is tantamount to the story of Zeus convincing a woman to have sex with a bull, who then gave birth to the Minotaur. It is equally as credible as that. It's a myth. It doesn't happen. It's never happened before either. Nope. Women just don't lie about rape. That's why it's in all these different ancient texts as a myth, Marina, because it just doesn't happen.
The narrative of a vindictive woman who uses rape as a tool of revenge is still a popular stereotype today.
Now, Marina, I should come down on you mighty hard for your use of the word stereotype. You see, Marina, by even saying that is a stereotype, you have acknowledged the truth in it. Dumbass.
It's also important to note that false rape accusations are relatively rare.
Gonna go tell that to all those innocent black men in jail right now about how rare false rape allegations are?
The FBI estimates between 2% and 8%, which, by the way, is less than false accusations of theft, which the FBI estimates at 10%.
Unfortunately, I'm not very good at debunking statistics. However, Tildeer is. So Tildeer, if you watch this video, you have the floor.
But nobody ever stereotypes robbery victims as vindictive liars.
Because there's usually evidence of robberies taking place. You know, in the last video we talked about how as soon as a crime of rape happens, how you think that somehow it's fucked up to go obtain evidence. But when a robbery occurs, we either get broken glass, we have missing objects, we sometimes have people who have been beaten or hurt. There is at least evidence that would suggest that it occurred. With a lot of rape cases, there's no evidence at all. The woman just said it, and because we're supposed to listen and believe, we believe it. And come on, Marina, you are smarter than this.
What's particularly dangerous about this myth is that it paints rape survivors who try and report their assault as untrustworthy, making it even harder for them to get any sort of justice.
Now, see, level with me here, Marina, because I know you don't like it. But, that's the whole point of collecting evidence and going to the authorities as soon as the crime has transpired. So that way, you have a lot of evidence and there is no way the person can doubt you. And considering the fact that most people still believe women, regardless of all the false rape allegations that have occurred within the last couple of years, women really don't have much to worry about, unless it comes in the case of them talking between their friends. I think it's really what happens between like social groups that really have people who don't believe some women. And I can understand why that would bother you, because women are more social than men are, you know, on average at least. So I understand that having your friends not trust you is bothersome and hurt your feelings. However, when it comes to the authorities and the crime and even the media, people pretty much believe it whenever a woman says she's been raped. And even if we prove that it's not true and that she lied, you'll still have some people who stand behind her and say she just said that because we live in a rape culture that we don't actually live in. So, I mean, maybe between two friends, yeah, that might occur where some people won't believe you, particularly because they know that your past has a lot of sexual exploits, and like I said before, I don't think that should matter if you claim that you've been raped. I think you should take the situation as a situation, but again, that doesn't happen in the legal sphere. That does not happen in any legal sphere. You take someone to court, you bring the evidence. Sometimes you don't even have to have evidence, and you can still convict someone of rape, especially if that person has dark skin.
It also shows the historic concern that the biggest victims of rape culture are the hordes of upstanding men being falsely accused left and right, rather than, you know, the actual survivors of rape.
Fuck you. Oh, fuck you, fuck you. Fuck you, fuck you. Fuck, 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 fuck.
Anyway, I think that these historic examples are extremely telling about where our current attitudes about sexual assault come from. And also pretty frightening when we consider how little we've progressed in the last 4,000 years.
Marina, is the part where you do not even actually have to have evidence to convict someone of doing a crime not enough? Let's use Sam Pepper. Sam Pepper made a couple of videos. Well, he made lots of videos, really, but let's focus on the ones that got his ass slammed really mighty hard. He made a couple of videos where one video actually, where he grabbed a bunch of women's butts, and he got a firestorm. Then, an anonymous woman came out of nowhere and said that she was anally raped by Sam Pepper. And everyone believed her. Everyone believed her. Everyone. Anonymous. We don't know who this person is, and she just comes out of nowhere and claims she's been raped. And we believe it. This B. Dottie, I could understand. She had evidence, but someone random, then lots of different women come out of nowhere talking about this. We believe anonymous strangers when they say that they have been raped. How could you possibly say we then live in a rape culture? How could you say we possibly live in a rape culture when you cannot even grab a woman's posterior without people being angry and upset with it? How could you possibly say we live in a rape culture when a woman can lie about being raped, proving that it's a lie, and the man still has to suffer the ramifications for what has happened? The simple answer is we don't. We don't live in a rape culture.
This is why it's so important that we view modern day victim blaming in a larger context and not as something that's just a recent phenomenon, but something that's been occurring throughout most of, if not all of human history.
Asking someone to acquire evidence for a crime that has just transpired, Marina, is not victim blaming. Okay, now let me I put this in all of my videos when I talk about rape and rape culture. If you have been raped, it is not your fault. Taking precautions to avoid rape does not mean it's your fault. It doesn't mean that you were asking for it, because by definition of the word rape, you cannot ask to be raped. But taking precautions to protect yourself is not saying it's your fault. It's called being a responsible adult. It may not be your responsibility, although it really is. There's no way around it. It's your responsibility to protect yourself, okay? But you may not even like it. You may not like the fact that you have to protect yourself. But it's your problem, and it's your life, and you have to take steps to protect it. Sorry. The only way you could possibly say that it's someone else's responsibility to protect you from getting raped is if you get married to a man. It's if you get married to a man. That's it. That's the only way you can say it is now someone else's responsibility to protect you. If you get married to a man. I mean, I'm just saying. Well, that's pretty much where Marina's video ends. I certainly hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And if you did, man, my friends, go ahead and click that like button. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Comment box below. And as always, have a great day. I will see you cool cats soon. Adios.